You ready to start, Joe?
Yeah.
All right, let's get this thing started. All right. Put some music in the background, like we did last time.
These are recording too, right?
Yeah, they've been
awesome.
So we got some amazing guests today.
We sure do.
Some people you know, which is kind of cool. You want to introduce them?
Definitely. We have Andy and Ian Love. So we have two guests on the show today. They're real estate investors. They also do finance, and we're going to talk a little bit about what they do and how both entrepreneurs do what they do. So welcome to the business with Joel and Benny, and we're excited to get started.
All right, let's go. This basically is about you guys. It's not about us. We wanted to get to know. This is our second podcast, by the way. So we're getting all the kinks worked out. That's why I hit that button twice by mistake, but it's all good. So I'm wearing this shirt right now because a lot of times we get in our own way when we want to do something because we want it to be perfect. But sometimes you just got to start. So that's what we're doing. We're just starting, and we appreciate you for coming today. And like I said, it's about you guys. So we want to learn about your business. We want to learn about different businesses in the area in Tampa and all that. So maybe we could start with Andy. You guys are partners, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyone who wants to chime in first and just let us know, like, I know you're in the real estate business, and we like to learn all about
Great. So thank you for having us. Basically, we have a real estate investment firm here in the Tampa area. Everything from wholesale, fix and flip. We've got some development going on up in the Maryland area. We also are investing in multifamily for cash flow purposes, and basically in a nutshell, that's kind of what we do. We source all of our own deals, and then we go ahead and we underwrite them. We use and raise capital to funnel our deals and make them happen essentially, and then give a return to our investors.
Oh, that's interesting. So when you say underwrite, you sell a home to someone and you underwrite the loan as well?
No, so when I say underwrite, we basically have our own pro formas, if you will. Basically, a pro forma is just a spreadsheet that breaks down all the numbers, from our purchase price to the cost, whether fixed, hard, what we're doing with investors, how much capital or how much equity we're giving them, and then we go ahead and we say, hey, this is where we need to be on our numbers, and then put the offer in, and then buy the property, purchase the property, and then the loan, if we use a private money lender or hard money lender, they go ahead and they do their own underwriting based on the after repair value and the value.
I got it. So it's like you do your own analytics to know if the property is worth buying or not.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, question I have for you guys. So, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, like where you started and how you got to where you're at today?
Yeah, so for me, background on myself is I did 5 years in the Marine Corps as a military police officer.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you guys for your support. So I did 5 years in the Marine Corps. While I was sitting on post one day, I picked up a book that I think everyone's read, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Of course.
No, Robert Kiyosaki, yeah.
So it basically kind of flipped my mindset. I was 21 when I read that book. And the biggest thing to me was like, he says, your house is not an asset, it's a liability when you purchase your own home, right? And that was kind of like that big catalyst for me. And then I started just reading more books, and was like, I wanted to step into real estate, so I got out in 2017, and I got my real estate agent's license, so I was a real estate agent for a little bit. Went on, utilized my GI Bill, got my accounting degree, and then got my master's in international real estate from FIU. And then I was like, I just want to be a real estate investor. And then started in the wholesale route. I was wholesaling some houses here and there. Andy actually ended up being one of my buyers on a property, which is a funny story because we went back and forth on one specific property. I thought it was worth something.
I won, by the way.
That's good.
6 months later, I won though. But yeah, so he was one of my buyers, and then that's kind of how I met him. And then from there, we kind of went back and forth, and then we just decided to partner up and basically kind of structure together a fund and start buying houses.
Nice.
That's pretty cool, yeah. You want to put the mic a little closer to you? No, you're right.
That's awesome.
If you want me to adjust it, I can go there and adjust it, but you're good. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. So, Andy, he said he met you through, you bought one of his wholesale deals.
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little quick
Go
background
ahead.
about me. So I'm originally from the Virgin Islands.
Mm-hmm.
We moved to Tampa back in 2004. Went to high school, went to middle school and high school here. I grew up kind of struggling. Poor Dominican family. And I just wanted to basically find something that was going to make me rich. I saw like the dope boys and whatnot making money and whatnot. In high school, I worked through high school at a barbershop sweeping, and I met this guy, and this guy would always talk about real estate. I'm like, this guy drives I think he drove like a 1995 Explorer or something, and I'm like, this old Puerto Rican cat, and I'm like, he drives the ugliest car, but yet he has the most money. It didn't make any sense. And yet, behold, now it's funny because all those guys are in prison, and he's, multi-millionaire guy, very low key. And basically, graduated high school, and I didn't know what to do. I was supposed to go to the Marines as well. I had back injuries, so I couldn't go. And basically, this guy told me to come work for him. So I basically went from cleaning appliances to being his personal assistant. Then became his basically head of sales, learned sales. So there I got inspired, eventually left there. Started a couple real estate companies, basically fell on my face, lost all my money.
So you know what they say. If you haven't failed, you haven't tried anything, right?
That's right.
So that's
Yeah,
what-
and I tried hard. Like, it's hard to convince your friends and family to give you money to buy a property. Like,
Yeah.
they're having the most money they're probably spending in their life has been like 10 grand. And they struggle to get their own property they live in. So for me, I had to get very creative how to raise capital. So what I used to do, basically I would preach real estate to everybody. I understood deals extremely well. So my background is what they call tax deed foreclosures. Like,
Okay.
I'm really good at understanding how title is transferred. So I would basically go to the courthouse, buy property to the courthouse steps, knock on doors, anything I could do to get a property at a good price. So I got really good at that. So my specialty was finding deals for other people, and I would get a cut. At those times, it was very little. Like, I would make $1,000, and I would make somebody 100 grand. And then eventually, I got to a point to where I was buying on my own through other people. And so I started a couple companies and failed. And then it was funny because a buddy of mine basically had $2 million. He's like, hey, I need to go buy some property. And at the time, it was working out, but it wasn't. I had the smaller share of the basic profits. And I met Ian at this house in Ybor City, and it was the craziest thing. I was like, this kid is 10 times smarter than I am. Why is he not figured it out? And I'm like, he's analyzing this deal. It doesn't make sense. I told him, hey, look, this property's worth this. It's gonna be worth what you want for it in 6 months. Look at the market, look at the trajectory. And he's underwritten deals for a long time, so he knows. But I think he was in denial or something. But
He got his emotions involved.
yeah. So
I'm still
basically,
young.
yeah. So basically, we went back and forth. And I called him one day. He would send me some deals. I would send him some deals. We would just talk about them. Just basically feeding off each other. We have very similar personalities. So we just click automatically. It was like basically just meet somebody you know you're gonna be. You don't have something with that person for the rest of your life. It was one of those experiences. And basically, we went back and forth. And then one day I'm like, you got a master's degree, don't you? I'm like, you know anything about funds? And my biggest thing is I want to buy high-rise buildings. So, which I'm still aspiring to basically buy high-rise buildings. So I'm like, hey, if we can start a fund together. And I'm trying to raise $100 million. And I'm like, hey, you know anything about funds? And he's like, yeah, I know a lot about funds. I used to underwrite deals for these companies and whatnot. So then basically we clicked and we just got together, and that's what we've been doing for the past couple years.
That's pretty cool. Not a lot of people wake up and say, I want to raise $100 million. You said $100 million? $100 million. Where do you get that from? Where do you get that,
So when I was doing tax deed, and then like I said, I've made people a lot of money, kind of like low key. And with real estate, it's numbers don't mean anything. Because you're buying properties for hundreds of millions of dollars. Like if you look at the basic buildings in downtown, there's a couple areas of like 200 million. So when it comes to real estate, numbers are irrelevant. They're just zeros. So that's the way I started looking at stuff. Of course, I'm not nowhere near there. But basically, I think I was reading, I forgot what book. I'm an avid reader, by the way, so
That's great.
I read a lot of real estate books. Like there's one that I gave him the other day. It's like an old book talking about how this country was built upon real estate moguls, basically. And basically, I was reading a book and I was seeing how these guys basically came from nothing, like nothing. These guys were picking up pennies on the side of the road and they were able to amass these huge real estate fortunes. And I'm like, if they can do it, I can. There's nothing different from them for me.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that was it, bro.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Real estate, the numbers, because you could buy a $200 million property, sell it tomorrow, and make $1. So that's not a good deal. No, it's still you still got to make a deal, right? So that's interesting.
I think that real estate is one of the best investments in the world because it allows you to leverage and grow your wealth through an asset that all you're doing is borrowing money from the bank.
Exactly.
So it's a good leverage tool, and I love it. You know, I do real estate. I know Benny does real estate too, and it's something we love to do. It's a wonderful industry, and there's a lot to learn, especially when you're networking and speaking with other individuals like yourselves that are also investors in real estate. And there's always a takeaway, right?
Yeah, man. You guys got any cool project going on right now that you can talk about?
I mean,
Or maybe something in the past, anything that was interesting, like
Well, we underwrite deals all the time. So
Yeah.
I mean, we dozens of deals a week. We had one project that it was kind of sucked that it didn't go through, but basically we were looking at it was like 479 lots down in the city area.
yeah, it's like right outside Northport.
We were looking at that, and it was funny because like the purchase price was like I think it was somewhere north of like 10 million or something like that. But basically, the total project was like $100 million project. So we're doing that, trying to figure out how to do that. We ended up doing it, but we actually was able to raise some money through that project, which put us in some good positions as well.
that's pretty cool.
So we do anything. I mean, we try to grab as much real estate as we can, depending. I mean, whether it's anything from new construction to multifamily to office. I mean, we look at everything because I mean we're in the real estate business.
Yeah.
I mean, not anything specific. Because a lot of guys jump in the industry and they want, I want to just do multifamily, or I just want to do office. We're in the real estate business. If we can find a good deal,
It's all about the
It's a
opportunity.
deal, yeah.
added value at a discount.
That's right.
It's good. You said you had an MBA. What school did you go to?
Yeah, so I went to FIU.
Oh, FIU.
Florida
You
International.
said that.
Yeah.
Miami.
Yeah, so I went, it was a hybrid program because I finished my undergrad in 2020. And then I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers doing research and development tax credits.
Okay.
And then from there, I just jumped right into my master's. And then I did the hybrid program because it was during COVID. So they didn't really have any people, they had a few people in class, but
Mhm.
they didn't really have anyone, there. So we were able to basically use Zoom to go to class. So it was kind of nice. I got to stay
Interesting,
here, and I got to do that as well.
I almost went to law school at FIU.
Okay,
I
nice.
got an opportunity to go to California, so I went that way.
Doesn't beat California. I like California. I lived in Vista.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Cali's cool. It's a great place to visit. I've had some good times over there.
Yeah. Which one are you, Dominican?
I'm Dominican.
Irish, right? You're Dominican.
Yeah.
So we're both Dominican too. So.
Yep.
Que lo que?
What part?
Well, my family's from La Capital. Yours is too, right?
So my
Your dad?
mother is from Santo Domingo, the capital, and then my father is from San Cristobal, which is like 30 minutes away from there. It's close to the ocean, a little bit of countryside. So basically, they met in the city, and the rest is history.
That's crazy. It's a very similar story to my parents. My mom's from, she's from Los Alcarrizos, which is
Okay.
right outside of the capital as well. And then my dad's from a little town close to Santiago
Okay.
called Isabela. That's where Christopher Columbus came in.
Okay.
Well, they have like his monument and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then my dad left at 12 to go work construction in the city with his older brothers because he has 10 older brothers.
Okay.
And basically, I think he met my mom when he was like 17, something like that.
And that must be a trend because I have 10 brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
There was no TV down there.
Yeah, there was nothing else to do.
Yeah, I think my parents met at 17, 18, something like that too. But Washington Heights, the other Dominican Republic.
Oh
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been there before.
I got an aunt up in my hand. I've been there one time, but I was a kid though. I was like 12. I haven't been there as an adult. Like we actually went. So we like what we've been doing lately is like flying around and looking at different markets.
Nice.
So we went to the Philly market, to Philly, not Philly, but we went to Philly like back last November.
Yeah.
We were thinking about driving over to New York or whatnot, but we just didn't have time. That was fun. Philly was really fun. We rented a Maybach and really drove around the hood.
Now you give people,
Yeah.
I want to drive one of those one of these days,
Right.
or one day.
It was a really crazy experience because like we didn't understand. Like when we got back, we kind of looked at the videos and buddy of ours was Fab. Fab was like, they didn't touch y'all because they thought y'all were the big guys coming in the hood. We were looking at row homes over there. We found some good stuff. It's crazy out there. The
Yeah.
poverty there.
Warzone.
Yeah, we were in Kensington. We went North Philly, West Philly.
Ooh, Kensington. That's interesting. That's like a street, right?
It's basically like what all they call them the poppies are at. So Dominican and Puerto Rican,
Okay.
you can't tell them apart over there.
Yeah.
Like, same
Okay.
thing like in the island. But basically it's just like the Hispanic area. You got the flags, the bodegas.
Okay.
And it was crazy because like I used to walk barefoot when I was a kid. There were people walking barefoot over there.
Oh,
that was in the
wow.
islands, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see
yeah.
that.
Oh man, you don't want to walk barefoot in the city streets.
Yeah. It was
Wow.
one of the guys that we were buying the property from was funny. He was living in a trailer behind the property, and he comes up barefoot. I'm like, with like his shirt ripped and stuff. I'm like, and he was like all skeptical and whatnot. And he's like, oh, I just want the money now. Why can't you just give it to me right now? And it was just like,
Due diligence.
You gotta go to the title and all that stuff. And,
Yeah.
and he was to me very aggressive. And it's funny because, so our business partner up there, he's black and he lives in, is it West Philly?
Yeah, he lives in West Philly.
So he lives in West Philly, so you know like that cultural difference there. I mean,
Yeah.
Will Smith, right?
yeah. So, and so we went over there and they were negotiating. I was on the phone. We went to his dad's house to try to get this property, and they're talking to him. And basically, I'm on the side by the car, and there's like the streets like one of the tree, and his dad and he's arguing with my buddy,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks at basically he looks at me. He's like, "Cómo está, papito?" And then the whole mood changed. You know, from being aggressive, his wife came out and said, "Well, hey," we started talking and whatnot. It was like a real weird experience because you can still see. I don't want to see the racism, but like the difference in culture over there.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had like this really big pit bull on the door.
Yeah.
And he's like, my dog don't like black people.
Oh,
Like, really?
that's terrible, man.
Oh man.
But yeah, so like I said, it was a very interesting city because like back in the islands, I mean, I'm from like St. Thomas, we still have, back when I was a kid, we still had that difference, like you had the different hoods and whatnot. So over there, you still have that, which I mean, it was weird to me, but.
Yeah.
Speaking about culture, so being raised Dominican, I'm sure you have like so many different things that, you know, growing up you can remember. Is there anything you can touch on, like, you know, being Dominican, you know, we have our things and our ways, you know what I mean?
One of my biggest things is I used to love chasing chickens as a kid, which is like, yeah, he tells his story. So
Man,
like,
I got a crazy story about that. I have to tell you.
yeah, we used to like we go to Ybor. We went to Ybor one day and we had some drinks and there's a rooster like about maybe like I don't know like 50 yards from us. I'm like, I'm gonna catch that rooster. And he looks at me like, you're crazy, dude. You're not gonna touch that thing.
You caught the rooster, didn't you?
I caught the rooster. I got a picture of that.
Really? Yo,
You gotta get the picture. You gotta get the
Of
picture.
course.
Man.
It was a funny shit because what I did is I just walked to it and basically just pretended I was walking away and I snatched it like real fast, which is actually a crime.
Yeah, it is.
So,
those roosters are
Oh, yeah.
protected.
You did that in Mexico.
yeah, in Mexico, yeah, but yeah, man, as growing up Dominican, it definitely has its fun times, parties every day, just basically the people are how you say you say this in a good way. They're characters.
Yeah.
So we used to live in St. Thomas. We were basically in an immigrant house. So I would have all the people from the island. My dad was helping out and whatnot. And we had like these big pots of food. And basically just, plato and salami every day.
Thanksgiving every day, huh?
Thanksgiving every day.
Oh, man, that's
Cook
great.
too much food every day. So it was nice. Definitely enjoyed my childhood. And St. Thomas is basically Dominican, Puerto Rican. Mostly only Hispanics there, or at the time when I was there.
Okay.
And then Jamaicans, Haitians, and people from all the other islands. So it was a nice place to grow up. I didn't meet any other like Hispanics that I came to Florida. I didn't even know there was Mexican, Colombian. Like,
And when you came to Florida, you came straight to Tampa?
straight to Tampa, and I haven't left. And it was crazy because I came here, I'm like, they look like me, but they're not like me. I was 12, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know. I saw like, of course, your map or whatnot. But it was like the people are just different.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. What about you, Ian? Where are you from?
I'm actually from Lafayette, Indiana, so nothing crazy.
Okay.
About 45 minutes northwest of Indianapolis.
So you're saying he's from somewhere crazy? Is that what I got?
He's just crazy.
Yeah.
No, I grew up basically middle of a cornfield, essentially
Oh, wow.
next to Purdue.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting place, put it that way.
Okay. What's your background?
So my father is African American and my mom is white.
Okay. Cool.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
We're actually just up there 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's a good real estate market.
Yeah.
We were just kind of visiting, riding around, looking at the market, especially because for me, after I left, I didn't really go back that often. So for me, going back, it's nice to see the change and kind of be able to look at it from a different perspective now as a real estate investor, which is kind of cool to go back and go with him. It was just his first time as well.
That was my next question I wanted to ask you was, how do you feel about the Tampa market as far as real estate, and what is driving you to look at other markets outside of Tampa?
So the Tampa market, I really like the Tampa market. If you look at it, we have one of the top population growths in the country,
Yep.
which is always good. When you have population growth, that means a lot of people are coming here and
Yeah.
they're staying. We have big tech companies coming in. This is something that we talk about all the time. Have you guys been up to San Francisco?
Oh
Oh, yeah.
So you've seen.
I went to school there.
Okay. Nice. Where'd you go?
Hastings.
Hastings? Okay.
Hey, UC Hastings. Yeah, it's right there, Civic Center.
Yeah, I like San Francisco. It's nice. I have a buddy out there in San Ho. So.
That's cool.
But yeah, I think so when I look at Tampa, it's not Fisherman's Wharf. I told him when Sparkman came here, I was like, that reminds me just of Fisherman's Wharf.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so I'm starting to see those little similarities between those bigger cities and
Yeah.
the tech companies coming here now. You got crypto in Miami.
Mhm.
You've got big tech. Google just moved. I think it was like 500 jobs here.
Mhm.
And so that's really going to drive up price.
Definitely.
And then, when we go look at other markets, we're looking for the same types of things. Is there big business coming into town? Are the hedge funds there? That's a big thing. When you see the hedge funds moving in somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. You see Kathy Woods move their headquarters to St. Pete.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah. She relocated to St. Pete.
That's a good tip. So basically, keep your ears to the ground to see what's going on,
Yeah.
and that helps your real estate investment business.
Yeah. We have a couple of people that we kind of chat with back and forth that, they're doing some bigger deals and whatnot. And they're like, hey, have you guys thought about this area, there's some movement here. So we'll start to do our research and market analysis and whatnot. And that's kind of the way that we've been moving.
Is there, and then on the second end of that, what's driving you to look at the other markets outside of Tampa?
For us, it's just, it's almost like diversification.
Okay.
We love the Tampa market, but at the same time, there's other markets that can provide better returns.
Okay.
The price point that you're buying something here, you can buy, for example, a multifamily home, right? Anything in an A-B area right now, you're buying at 4%
Yep.
cap rate, 5% cap rate.
Yep.
You might go somewhere and get the same amount of units, but at 8 or 9% cap rate.
Yeah.
And those are some of the things that we're looking at right now is like, hey, we can buy something close to the city in Ybor or, you know, we could go to a city like Indianapolis where your money goes further essentially.
Definitely.
So kind of that same mindset that, you know, the New York and California investors have, where they're like, hey, I could buy $1 million mansion in Cali,
Mhm.
or I could come down to Florida and buy 6 houses for the same amount.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's like if you invest in the stock market and you're looking at a company, you say, this company's nice, we're gonna put some money here, but at the same time, this other company's doing some good things, so
Right.
let's diversify and maybe put some money there too.
Exactly.
It's kinda like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we just basically, for me, I've been in the real estate industry for a little bit over 10 years. I straight out of high school jumped in. I'm 28 now. And I remember preaching to people about real estate in Tampa back in 2012, I mean, right when it started at peak.
Mhm.
And like I was looking at real estate back in 8 while I was in high school. Cause I was when I was with this guy, basically, I was just kind of like looking at the market. He used to tell me all the time, he who can determine value can position himself to make a profit.
Wow.
So I would always just look at the market, constantly just being able to understand the market. And eventually it clicked. But like now the competition is fierce. So like we're getting outbid. So with this,
Tell me about it.
with this recession now, it's a perfect opportunity for us to come in and now push our focus back to Tampa and basically, 10x or 100x or our net worth.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, one thing too on that point of, you know, looking at other markets is when we went to Philly, we had the deal in Kensington that he was talking about with the guy living in the RV behind the house. We got that house for $25,000.
Wow.
It was worth $250,000.
Wow.
So those are the kind of things that we were looking at. We're like, hey, and we have obviously a strategic partner up there that, you know, can be boots on the ground for us. You know, he's a GC and whatnot.
That's
So
fantastic.
he basically, you know, we go back and forth, and, you know, if he finds a deal down here, he's like, hey, what do you guys think about this? So we're able to be in those markets without necessarily being there present, which is nice as well.
That's pretty cool. Do you always feel like you have to have an in, like or a network in that area, or
I
you don't
think
care, so you just go and look at it?
I think it helps. You know, that's
Yeah.
another determining factor for us. Do we have people there that could be on the ground that, you know, either want to learn real estate, be in real estate, or are actively doing it? Because they're going to have a better insight than you would, especially if they're living there. You know, someone that doesn't live in Tampa, you know, I think we've all seen it with people that are buying virtually. They don't understand the area, so they might overpay for something, and that's why certain areas are, you know, hyperinflated versus others, because they don't know the areas. Where somebody, you know, we can see something and say, hey, that's actually not a good deal, you're overpaying for that deal. So
Yeah.
you get that same effect when you're actually having someone there, which I think is nice to have.
That's true, and they also can teach you that. Oh, you get the intangibles from
Yeah.
them, because you can do all the numbers you want, but they can tell you, hey, no, this is going on in this neighborhood. You probably don't want to do that right now.
Exactly. You know, like when you run comps, we were running comps when we first started at like half a mile, and he's like, no, it's block to block.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go over to that block,
That's
because
right.
even though it's a small street, it's not a major street, it changes. It's actually, you know, a really
Neighborhood.
nice neighborhood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. I see. I
No go by Zillow.
Yeah, right.
I read a lot of articles about iBuyers,
Mhm.
just overpaying, and obviously you see how that worked out for Zillow.
Right.
Right. And like you were saying, if you have those boots on the ground, you can get a real feel for what the numbers are and work with them. So that's great that you guys have that partner up there. That's really interesting.
An algorithm could only take you so far.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Tampa. Like, y'all familiar with West Tampa, right?
Yeah.
You know, Albany splits. Different. It kind of like the price point on one side is different on the other side, or Armenia and Howard, like on either side. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Either side of Kennedy, right?
Yes.
Or
Right.
McDill. One side is beautiful, the other side is a little sketchy.
No, McDill has like a mansion right here, and then it has this like slumlord apartment complex right next to it. It's so weird.
Yeah, and then crackheads running up and down. And I'm like,
What's going on there?
Did I just see a battery in the eye? What are you doing here?
yeah. So that's basically the thing. So like, it's good to have somebody there, even if they're not completely knowledgeable in real estate. They at least understand the markets and the intricacies within that market. And then it helps you just pivot if something were to happen one night. Hey, look, there's this tenant. Can you go over there and check up on them? Hey, can you negotiate with this person? It's like we had a deal with a guy under contract about like 2-3 weeks ago, And I called the lady, and basically it was her daughter, and it was in my mom's neighborhood. And I'm like, yeah, I grew up right here. And gave me the deal right away, just because I told her that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
And gave me a
cool.
good price on it as well. So
Yeah.
that was,
You
that was
almost-
also negotiation.
You almost had the same thing happen to you.
Yeah.
You had your investment property. Your neighbor was like, "Hey, I want to sell my house," and then but she saw what you did to it and decided to do the same thing.
That's true, yeah. But I agree with you guys, man. You gotta invest, you know, in Tampa, you know, anywhere, wherever, whoever's listening, any market, you gotta invest in order to grow your portfolio, in order to grow as an individual. You know, you gotta, you know, at least that's my tip. I would love to hear what things that you guys have learned from your experience, like any tips you guys have, any gems you want to share with the audience.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is know your numbers. That's something him and I go back and forth. He says I have what they call Andy Man.
It should be.
You're the gut guy. Like, I have a gut feeling about this. This is gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
And he's like, "But look at this number right here."
Right, exactly.
So we get a lot of that, and it's funny because like for Tampa, I understand the market extremely well, and I can sit there and I can tell you, hey, look, I knew what this car was going to sell for 6 months later, and that's the way we started our relationship, which was funny. But in other markets, I'm wrong because I don't understand them.
Yeah.
And that's why like any market we go into, we want to walk, we want to drive it, we want to be able to have people boots on the ground. So it's like just know your numbers, understand your numbers, and just put in the work. Really, I mean, like for us, it's like we actually sit down and actually look at property, run numbers. He's sending me text messages at 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Hey, what do you think about this deal? I mean, we're both getting up early, looking at properties. I mean, we're running those numbers every day just to make sure. I mean,
Yeah. That's good. So
Yeah.
do the work, know your numbers.
yeah.
I just wanted to know, you guys have an awesome partnership. I can tell just by the stories you guys been
Yeah.
sharing. It sounds like you guys are close, and you guys, you know, bounce ideas off of each other, and you both are growing from each other.
It sounds like they just make money together. That's always good. That'll keep the friendship going, right?
Right. It's the whole goal, right?
Yeah, you
No.
want to be partnered with people that you generally like. You can have that conversation. You can have those tough conversations, right? Each other too. Like if he's doing bad, I mean, I can pick him up. I mean, I'm not gonna just kick him in the ass and be like, hey,
Yeah.
I mean, you're horrible. I'm like, hey, this is where you're fucking up at. I mean, and this is all you can prove, and then we try to build on. I mean, to help each other, and vice versa. So.
Yeah, you gotta be able to take criticism, especially from your friends and your
I mean,
close ones.
we basically just we gotta hold each other accountable. That's the biggest thing, you know. It's just
I like
you know,
that.
we got some people that, you know, help us out and work with us and work for us and whatnot, but at the end of the day we're the ones that are driving this thing. And so if we can't hold each other accountable, then how are we really gonna grow? How are we gonna scale? How are we gonna do those types of things?
That's awesome. I love that.
And for us, it's crazy. Like looking back on like basically the past year, we've both been able to employ our fathers, which is
Oh,
like,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
So that's something that.
That's amazing, man.
Val gave me a heart attack when he said that, but he just called me one day. He's like, "Yeah, so I put my 2 weeks notice in, and I'm coming up, and we're gonna do this thing." And I was like, "Okay."
And then he
Yeah.
tells me, I'm like, he's like, we're not making that much money. I'm like, we'll figure it out. Fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
And basically, that.
But it works out. Everything works out.
How's that feel? Was that like a lifelong goal for you guys to be able to do something like that, or it's just like, you know, how did that come about?
Rich dad, poor dad for him.
Yeah, right.
For me, it's just basically been, like I said, I grew up poor. So it's like, I wanted to take my family out of poverty, and basically, I feel like I'm that person. I mean, and I had like a real basic deep conversation with my dad a couple of years ago, and he's like, for some reason, he thinks I'm the smart one, even though I'm the little one. So like like I said, I've been fortunate enough the past couple of years. I mean, my brother works for me as well. My cleaning company, he also does stuff for us as well. We're doing like the stone. He works for a stone company, so it's nice to be able to be like in the hands of family. Because at the end of the day, that's all you have.
Man, I think
That's amazing.
That's a gem right there. You know, just being able to help your family, and you're a great example of how you came from poverty and look where you're at today. That's awesome.
No, I heard also that you're empowering your family by giving them jobs,
Yeah.
which is nice. Some people hand stuff out, but you're actually like, you're
Yeah.
working with your family, you're giving them opportunities, which is pretty cool.
And I think it's also nice too because you can trust them, and that's the
Yeah.
big thing, you know. I can trust that. Hey, we need to get this done, and it's going to get done. And you know, it's nice to be able to come into work with people that you enjoy being around. You know, it makes the day a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable and a lot more fun, especially, you know, when we're, you know, sometimes we have to go put that work in ourselves at a property and we're there till 11, 12 at night, but we're all together. You know, we might have a few shots or whatever, but
That's awesome.
you know, it's really enjoyable. We're definitely really blessed to have that, you know, a part of our company.
That's cool. I think it was Kobe Bryant that said when he came into some money, he said, "Don't give your family just money." I mean, I'm sure sometimes you have to give them something, but don't just give money. Give them jobs. Give them something meaningful, because
Right.
then you know they'll do something with that, as opposed to just, you know, running up the tab somewhere.
Right.
For us, we've been fortunate enough that both of us have amazing families.
Yeah.
Very supportive. They're there. I mean, they'll work for free if they have to, just to make sure they need to see our dream come true, which is something that's very humbling.
That's awesome.
So you mentioned cleaning company. So you guys have more than one business?
So I have a cleaning company. I've been in the cleaning industry for almost the same time. I met my wife. Her dad had a huge cleaning company, basically in Tampa, but he was a subcontractor. I don't know if you know anything about cleaning, but basically he would get contracts from other people because of the insurance. And basically 2012, he was going through basically a financial situation where they were dropping him and hiring managers. So basically I stepped in, his son and I, and basically we formed another LLC, and I'm like, we'll figure this thing out. And basically we jumped into the cleaning, and we both had the experience. So the way I started cleaning was, I wanted to basically hang out with my current wife.
Oh, that's good motivation right there.
Yeah. And she will leave early every day, and I'm like, where you going? She's like, well, I gotta work. I'm like, you gotta work. So I'm like, I'll come with you. So I used to work for free for like 2-3 years.
Wow.
Every afternoon, Monday through Friday.
Just helping her.
Just helping her.
Wow.
Basically, pick up bags, like you pick up the bags in the cubicle and whatnot.
Yeah.
And we would just talk and just go back and forth. And basically now we have, it's not a huge company, but we specialize in like country clubs, private clubs. We were in class office for a while. COVID hit, completely tore that market to shreds.
Yeah.
So like I said, my business partner is my brother-in-law. So we're 50-50 partners. And it's going really well.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Leave a business card.
That's
Place you can clean.
the dedication. You said there 2-3 years.
Yeah, that's definitely. You did say 2-3 years.
Yeah, it was crazy because I would just go, it was just time we just spent. So that was our dates. That was our like basic dates. And then after then we'll leave other places, whatever, to go eat and whatnot. But by that time it was already like 12 o'clock at night anyway. So we're like going to like Causeway and just like sit out there and talk and whatnot. We did that for a while. Like I said, we did that for like 2-3 years. And then it was just something to do. And I'm like, why don't I just make a business out of this? So I'm like the sales guy, basically. So I go out and get the contracts and whatnot, and then basically supervise.
One takeaway that I'm taking away from what you're saying is, I mean, all the entrepreneurs that are listening right now, this is what it's about. It's taking that risk, right? Taking that plunge, not knowing, like Benny said, right? Just start.
Just start.
You don't know if you're gonna fail, but if you don't fail, you overcome it. I mean, success is at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's awesome, man, that you're willing to, you gambled already multiple times.
Yeah.
Sometimes you lost, but if you get more wins than losses, that's all that matters.
But yeah, I jumped into the hospitality. I bought a restaurant in South Tampa at one point.
Restaurants. My mom owned a restaurant. It's a tough business.
It's a really tough business.
Yeah.
And it's like the margins are small, only 8%. And they don't tell you that when you jump. You just see all this money,
Yeah.
and like you make a lot of money. You gross a lot of money, but the take home sucks. And then if you're not there supervising and with food costs and all that stuff, dialing everything down and knowing your numbers. Like when I first started in that industry, I didn't know McDonald's food cost was 27%. I still remember.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like 30.
Yeah, so just basically knowing your numbers. We're going back to knowing your numbers.
Yep.
And I didn't know my numbers at all. And I lost my ass.
You make the best. I don't know what kind of food.
I was Peruvian.
Peruvian
So
food.
my wife
Oh, that's my favorite.
Ooh, that's really good.
That's my favorite Spanish food. Period.
I love Peruvian food, yeah.
Yeah. Peruvian food is delicious, man. That chicken, man. You guys.
I'm just
You
gonna
guys
go
got
out there.
that
I'm just
down.
gonna go out there and say it. I put you on.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I just tried Peruvian food for the first time like maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah, such a really good place on the street here.
Yeah, and I was blown away. I was like, wow.
Ají de gallina.
Yeah. The ceviche is almost
The ceviche is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? It's in Peru. They have a Asian influence. They have,
Yeah.
you know, of course, the Spanish. They got, you know, a little bit of everything, and they're African. The whole deal.
Yeah, Creole, yeah.
It- Italian.
Yeah,
they
they're
have
very
Italian
diverse.
influence there too. So it's amazing.
It's like a fusion.
Yeah. It's crazy because like it's like in Peru. I've never been, by the way. I still haven't gone yet, but you have like.
Let's go after the podcast.
You can if you want. It's like there's spots at sea level and spots like 2,000 feet above sea level. So
Peru is
Yeah.
one of the only countries that has all four climates.
yeah, exactly.
It has sand, snow, beach, and mountain.
Yeah, some of my favorite coffees come from Peru.
So it's fair what?
Coffees.
Oh.
Yeah, some of my favorite coffees come from Peru. It's good stuff.
You guys coffee drinkers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta have your coffee.
We were actually just talking about that on the way up. We were like, we should have got some Starbucks.
Yeah, this right across the street.
Yeah, I usually get Americano with a quad shot.
Okay.
Quad shot. Oh yeah. you like
Along
that.
with the pre-workout.
Whoa.
And
Some Thermogents.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your heart's
Oh,
gotta be
man.
doing like 100 miles an hour.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, all through law school, I had the IV stuck to my arm.
You have to too because it's like you just need that little push. And especially with what we do, like it's just mentally draining sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I mean, coffee just gives you a cognitive like little jolt. And
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I used to, you know, drink some coffee before an exam.
Yeah.
I mean, you crash after, but it's the,
at least you get through it.
yeah. It's like a focus thing, I guess. I don't know. It does work though.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you guys was, what was your like most fun project that you guys did? Like something you enjoy doing? Okay, go ahead.
I think we can both agree on our 24th Street property over there in Ybor.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the first flip that we had done with both of our fathers,
Oh wow.
and we all did it together. We didn't hire contractors. We just went in there and we did it all ourselves, all the work.
Wow.
The only contractors that we really hired were, you know, for the big things, roof, AC,
And stucco.
you know, stucco. But we all just stuck it out because we, you know, for me personally, I didn't grow up doing the handyman type stuff, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And so for me, I wanted to learn. I wanted to be able to say like, hey, I'm one of those people like I need to know how much time is it going to take to drywall this room,
Yeah.
right? And learn everything from inside out. And so they were teaching us, but at the same time, you know, it was a very big, you know, camaraderie thing for us. So it was, I think that was the most fun project that we've done together. So.
Yeah, it was fun. So basically, I've been doing construction since I was 5. My
Mhm.
dad he had a construction company in St. Thomas. So basically, worked for this rich property owner. I think that's where I got the whole real estate stuff from. When I look back, she basically would buy basically apartment buildings that would get hit by the hurricanes.
Mm.
And she owned almost the whole island. This lady had a lot of properties. My dad was her head contractor. He would basically drop me into the grass, and I went to do tile and drywall. And then I got good at plumbing, eventually electrical. But basically on that project was funny. That's when I introduced him to Bluebell too.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we were drinking in there probably a bottle every 3 days, the 4 of us. Yeah, the big one,
The big boy.
the leader, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because we would be there like at 12 o'clock at night, basically texturing. We got a whole bunch of videos of us like writing the walls. You know, here's a drink because it's late, we're tired, we're like we just need something to pick us up. We made a bunch of funny videos too for that.
That's pretty cool. You need to put them all together and just make a big documentary.
Yeah, we got one where my dad's he's underneath, so we rebuilt the whole bathroom down to the basic, to the studs, the 2x8s, all the foundational work for the bathroom. It's a wood house, and he literally took a pillow down underneath the house and was laying there, and it was a tight, like basic squeeze to get under there. We were doing the plumbing, and I'm like, Dad, you want a drink? He's like, yeah. So I take one of those little like cups, and I put some Brugal on it, and I put it through like the little hole with the drain. It's
You just see a little hand. It just disappears.
That's funny, man.
and then like, oh, you heard salute.
Yeah, you know what? We had a. Did you drink one? You don't know what I'm about to say. Maybe you do. In Miami, we had our first old fashioned made with Brugal. It was pretty good.
Oh, no,
It
try
was,
that.
yeah. It was like a. I don't know. They wanted to make it like a Dominican twist to it, and this was at the Ritz Carlton in Biscayne. Or something?
Yeah, Key Biscayne.
Key Biscayne, yeah.
Yeah.
And that bar in there, man, they made a great drink. That Brugal, the old fashioned Brugal.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, man, it was really good. It was really good.
What's the place's name?
It's the Ritz Carlton
Yeah.
and the Key Biscayne.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just down there like a month or two ago. Is it Brickell?
Yeah, we were staying in Brickell.
Okay.
We got a Dominican lawyer, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's from Miami, but
That's cool.
That's awesome.
yeah. So we went down there to go visit him, talk some stuff, and like we just kind of toured around and ate some good food down there. So I'll definitely next time we go down there.
Yeah, for sure. And just for all the listeners out there, Brugal is a Dominican drink of rum. So everyone knows what we're talking about here. That's not Dominican.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's actually a pretty good rum too. It's
It is.
cheap. It's like $20-30 for like a liter or something.
But it's smooth.
Hey, some of your best bourbons are, Woodford Reserve is great bourbon.
Right.
That has a good price point.
Yeah,
You like bourbon, right?
Yeah. That was one thing that both of us have started to kind of get into. We had a couple, Fab and Ed, both mentors of ours and good friends of ours, and we started sitting down for the
Stop the
Clock.
Stop. Yeah.
And they just kind of been, especially Ed, he's been kind of putting us on to some newer bourbons and whatnot. Then we go to Okanola. Have you guys ever been there?
No, I haven't been to that.
So the owner of Okanola, his name's Andy. Andy's from Indiana.
Wow.
Yeah. But he gives us quite a few tastings, so definitely shout out to him because he's been, kind of teaching us some stuff. Hey, he gets a lot of allocated bourbons.
Nice.
So we've been able to try a lot of those and sit in on some tastings. And, we're part of the Tampa Bay Whiskey Society. So when they have tastings, we, try to hop in those when we can.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I remember this little bar in Oakland. All they served was bourbon, just all bourbon, just from all over. And it was pretty cool. We used to go there every now and then.
Yeah, we've been learning. I mean, it's been a ride.
Yeah.
It's
It's been a lot of time.
And then when we go to Okanola, it's cool because the owner knows that, hey, look, we're still very novice in the bourbon, basically the bourbon industry.
He's like, try this.
And he goes to the back and gets the good stuff.
Wow.
So all the allocated bourbons that he saves for his private clients, he really brings them out for us. Like we even have like the Pappy Van Winkle 10, 12, and 15.
We had the Angel's Envy, the 10th year. What was it? 10th year?
Oh, that's cool. My brother bought me a 12-year Van Winkle when I graduated. He was like,
It's good.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, if you go there, you can under second. It's basically the bourbon's all under the second shelf, and we just try everything on there.
Wow. that Pappy is really expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because he first told me, he's like, I'm gonna just let you smell it, and he opened the bottle for me. Yeah, he had a big party, so he was like, but I mean, definitely just humbling because these guys have been great mentors for us, especially for that. But,
That's pretty cool. Well, we don't want to keep you guys forever because I know you got to make some deals.
Right.
And we've been here pretty good. Is there anything you want to say?
No, just first I wanted to thank you guys for coming on the podcast, supporting us as entrepreneurs. We respect your time, and we're so grateful that you were able to share some of those stories with us and some gems on real estate investing and about your businesses. So we just wanted to thank you for joining the show. Just one question: is there anything you guys wanted to plug? Anything you wanted to promote for your businesses? Any information you wanted to share for the listeners?
I guess you could always plug in the socials. So You can find me on Instagram at Mr. MISTER_love 813, on Facebook as well. Ian
Mr. Love.
Love.
Okay.
And that's what, I mean, that's about it. You know, we're always open to deals, so whatever deals anyone has, we love to work with people, and you know, if we can figure something out, we definitely will figure
Thanks
it
a
out.
lot. We'd like to have you back too. Like once we get even more professional with this. This is our second podcast.
I like it. It's a nice setup. Appreciate it. You know, I really appreciate you guys having us out here today on this podcast.
Thanks, man. It's a passion project. We've been talking about it for a while, and then I was just like,
Great.
just start, man. Let's
I like
just
it.
do it.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is great.
Thank you.
It's like I spent $1 million.
No. It looks like it though. Probably why. But thanks for coming. Man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you guys, and we're out here.